Hello, hello, hello. Grant Wiley here from Worthington Publishing, here to bring you another game review in Grant's Game Room. Today, at the request of my good friend Matt Luby, I am going to be doing a review of Worthington Publishing's Wilderness Empires, a 1 to 4 player game on the French and Indian War in North America. First off, if you are enjoying these videos, want to see more of these, please subscribe to the page. Go to the link below, click the subscribe button, give us a thumbs up. We appreciate it. We appreciate you watching and also you sharing with fellow gamers. Now, what do you get when you buy Wilderness Empires? Well, you get a bag of red and blue blocks, some green Indian village tokens, deck of cards for the French and British. I've already popped these open and got them rubber banded here. Set of rules. Dropped the leader. I've already got a board set up. I'll show you this in a bit. Set of rules, full color. They're 8 pages. The game's designed by Bill Molyneux, and this was developed by myself and Mike Wiley, my uncle and business partner. You get large 24 millimeter by 24 millimeter blocks, 10 millimeter sides. These represent your combat forces in the game. You get a sheet of labels to apply to the blocks. These represent your military units. And you also get a set of combat dice. These are wooden and they have special symbols on them. For example, let's say the hit symbol is the arrow. Let's see. You just go through this real quick. The rules are 8 pages. Again, beautiful graphics on them, designed by Bill Molyneux. Full color, good detail, lots of visuals. It's really 1, 2, 3, 4, 4.5 pages of rules. And there's a setup here, optional rules for solitaire play, optional rule for 3 players where 1 player takes the French, another player takes the Native Americans, and then 4 player where 1 player takes the militia, 1 player takes the British, 1 player takes the French, and 1 player takes the Native American. If you've played block games before, the concepts will be familiar. There are a number of pips along each side of the block that represents the unit's current strength. As the unit takes hits in combat, it's rotated to the next lower number of pips until there are no more, at which point that unit is eliminated. In this game, you have militia, which have a white stripe. They have special rules that they can flee in battle, whereas your regulars with no white stripe don't normally flee in battles. As you can see here, the militia have 4 pips. There are some French regulars with 3 pips, and most of the militia are 2 pip. The Native Americans for the French have villages on the board where they go home to at the end of each season. Now, how the game is played, each player is dealt a hand of cards, 4 to 5 cards depending on whether it's a 1-player game, 2-player game, and there's 4 seasons. There's fall, summer, and spring. In the spring and fall, you typically play 1 card per turn. In the summer, you can play 2. And the cards have different events on them, as you can see here. For instance, this card you play before British units, and famine reduces the French and Native Americans. French lose 4 SP in 1 location, British choose the location. So I could point at a spot on the board and say, remove 4 SP from that location. The French player would have to reduce by 4 pips in that location. How gameplay works is each turn you can move all your units. There are 3 colored roads on the board, and I'll show you all this graphically. There are blue roads, which represent waterways. There are black roads, which represent paths that anybody knows about. And there's one special green road that only Native American units can move. Any piece can use a black road. So if you have a piece without a leader, it can move down a black road. Only forces moving with leaders may move along a blue road. And only Native American forces may move along a green road. You can have up to 12 pieces, blocks in a location. Units moving with leaders may only enter enemy locations. So if there's a British leader moving, he can enter a location with French forces. If it was a single American piece, it could not move into an enemy location without a leader. Now leaders are rated 1, 2, and 3 stars. That has no effect on anything other than movement. A 1-star leader can move 1 space a turn. A 2-star leader can move 2 spaces a turn, and so on. Now, coordination of forces. If I move 6 blocks and a leader into a enemy occupied location, then other units without a leader can move into that location because there will be a leader located there at the end of the move. Regular infantry, those without a stripe, move 1 location a turn. Militia move 2 locations a turn, and Native Americans can move 2 locations a turn. The combat system is fairly simple, fairly standard. You roll 1 orange regular die per unit that you have in that location. Hits and flees. You also have special dice. There are forts on the board which tell you how many extra dice you roll. For example, Fort William Henry rolls 2 special dice. So say I had 5 British units there, I would roll, and the fort was being attacked by a French force. The British player would roll 5 orange dice, 1 for each of his British units, and then 2 special dice for the fort. Special dice may also be added by cards. It can also be added for leaders. So each turn, the British player moves, the French player moves, or British player moves, there's combat. French player moves, there's combat, and then you go on to the next turn. Each season, though, you can play 1 or 2 cards. Again, fall 1, summer 2, spring 1. In the winter, there are no cards played. You can discard a card and then redraw your hand back up to 4 or 5, depending on which game you're playing. The game runs from 1754 to 1762, so I think that's a total of about 36 turns. Now, some special rules. During the winter, militia, if they're in an area that is not their homeland, and the board is color-coded, red for British, blue for French, and green for Native American, Native Americans return to their homeland. Each Native American village has a green village on it, green wooden village. If a British force with a leader moves in there, that village is burned. So the Native American during the winter would not be able to return to its homeland. For each militia unit that is in an enemy-occupied territory, or is in enemy territory, French militia in British red, British militia in French blue, would roll a combat dice, and on a flee result, that unit would return home. So in the winter, the militia returns, some of the militia will return home, leaving your regulars kind of hung out to dry. It makes for an interesting game. Overall review of the game. I enjoyed this game. I enjoyed play testing this game. The components are absolutely gorgeous. This was our first print with the current company we're using, if I'm not mistaken, and it's got a beautiful hard-mounted game board, good colors, nice dice, huge 24mm wooden blocks with nice labels. Cards with rounded corners, 20 per side. The Native Americans have a special 5 or 10 card deck. Here we go, here's one. Friends select one British leader to target, roll 2 special dice, leader eliminated on any hit roll. So there's some special Indian cards in here, ambush and militia and things like that. The cards also add reinforcements, they add naval movement, ambushes, leader assassination, Native American raids, send British militia home, so you can play cards. The letters arrives, place leader in Louisburg or Quebec, and again, now the trick to the game is you're trying to get to 20 victory points. The game ebbs and flows. Each location also, not each location, certain locations have victory point markers in the corner, awarding victory points to the player that currently controls it. The gameplay is excellent. If there's one complaint, and for me personally, especially when I set it up today, is with the 24mm blocks, even though we've got a huge board and there's not a ton of spaces on it, it does get a little crowded. I've stacked like the British units up, and I'll show you when I show you the setup here. I've kind of stacked things up, and it goes like that. Now with combat, each player rolls until they either decide to retreat or their side's eliminated, at which point the opponent gains control of the area. If it's a victory point area, you adjust the victory points up or down. There are port locations, forts. There's a lot to this game in those 5 pages of rules. Bill Molyneux is a French and Indian war enthusiast. He does recreations, him and his son. If you got a chance, like I said, pick it up. We've got it at I think either 45 or 50 bucks on the website. It's a great game. There's a lot here if you enjoy block games. There's a lot here if you don't enjoy block games. Again, we've got special rules for solitaire gameplay. It's fairly simple. You could use this for introducing somebody to wargaming easily. And there's a lot of different things here. You've got Native Americans, you've got militia, you've got the leaders, the historical leaders, you've got the forts. It really, in 5 pages of rules, incorporates a lot of it. You get the feel of the war because you've got the Native Americans and the militia, and then during the winter your armies melt and you're trying to hang on to these forts and these victory point locations. And you know, the British get more reinforcements than the French, so if you're the French, you've got to go at them hard and early, and if you're the British, you know, hang on and then try to slowly push back as the war progresses. I think the game does a great job of recreating history and, you know, showing you what was going on. So, with that, I'll show you some pictures real quick of the game board. I'm going to walk around the camera. I probably won't edit this and show you what's going on, but if not, you know, give it a look. Go out to our website, www.worthingtonpublishing.com, and check it out. And guys, thanks for viewing, and we'll show you some video real quick. Okay, here's the game board set up with the opening setup. We're going to zoom in a little bit. You can see there's a large French force here, militia and regulars, a couple leaders. And if you notice, there's 1-star leader. I'm showing you the French side too. Now in combat, it's the leader with the most stars that would get the advantage. So that British force attacking that French force, you can see there that there is a 2-star French leader. That French leader would roll an extra battle die. Here's the locations. There's an Indian village. You can see the Native Americans. There are the black roads. There's a fort. That shows you how many special battle dice it rolls. One there for My camera work is getting bad. That fort. Whereas at Fort William Henry there, you get 2. American militia, British militia, British leaders, and again you can see how the road network works. There's a blue road and a black road. So again, the blue area is the French homeland, the red is the British homeland, and the green is Native American. Here's Lewisburg and Halifax up here in the corner. Important forts and locations, Lewisburg in particular. So yeah, that's about it. Guys, if you have any further questions, please shoot us an email at www.worthingtonpublishing@gmail.com. Guys, go out today, play a game. This weekend, teach a game. But most of all, happy gaming. Thank you. And we hope you enjoyed this review of Wilderness Empires.